So how to use this? Well, obviously, if you can figure out where you are and you know where somebody else is, give you a quick example. I said when I'm at home running my business, most of the time I'm a director. Very straightforward, bottom line, let's, if the person can't help me, go to the next call. And the lady answers the phone. You tell me which box the person's in just by how she answers the phone. This is a true story. Answers the phone like this. Good afternoon. This is Diane in the Human Resource Department. How can I help you? Relator. You nailed her. It's 2 sentences out of her mouth. And I'm going, uh-oh, I better take some drugs or Valium or something to calm myself down, take a deep breath. And I said, Diane, my name is Brad Warren with Warren & Associates. And I design training programs for companies that help reduce conflict in the workplace. Hook, nail, sinker, got the bait. She goes, really? I need to meet you in person. And I'm thinking, yeah, you want to give me a hug, you want to see me in person. So she invites me to her office, I go to her office, I sit down and I say, so Diane, tell me a little bit about your company. Where's the conflict? And she starts describing the owner, who happens to be a classic director, and I describe to her some areas where she may be having some difficulty. And she goes, how did you know that? Do you know this guy? I said, no, I haven't met him, but tell me some more. She described the socializer, and I described to her how she might be having some difficulty with that person. And she said, how did you do that? I drew this on a piece of paper in 5 minutes, and she did something uncharacteristic. Hired me on the spot to teach the half-day course to the entire office of 33 people. Now, normally a relator would what? Check all of my references. She'd call around to find out more about me and where I had taught and if I'm a nice person. And I might have been 2 weeks till I heard back from her, so it was very uncharacteristic for her to do that. So I went to that company, did the whole seminar. Tell you where it backfired on me. Went to a company called QuickLogic. I think they're still in existence down in Palo Alto, someplace down there. And we're going there to explain to them about a time management course. So we walk in, and you would think that I would be smart enough to tone it down, be a little more, logical. And the guy says, so Mr. Warren, see, when they call me Mr. Warren, I know I'm in trouble. They said, well, Mr. Warren, could you please describe in great detail to us your time management class? And I'm answering from this box. Oh, you're going to love that class. It's a lot of fun. They don't want to hear about fun. They want to know, how does it work and how many minutes are you going to spend on this and how many tips are we going to learn? I should have said, oh, time management, excellent choice of class. You are going to experience a 27.8% increase in productivity in just the first 13.6 days of implementing the system. In fact, I have so many systems, I've lost count. I could give you an exact count. In fact, I will email you later at 4:02 this afternoon. I will email you the exact number of systems that I will teach you. That's what I should have been saying. A week later, they called back to the guy that was hiring me. I was subcontracting. They called back and they said, direct quote, Brad is not a good fit for our culture. And they were right. Up here, acting this way, I'm not a good fit for their culture, which was more of a thinking culture. Price Waterhouse. I went and did a seminar there once. 40 people in the room, 30 thinkers. Duh, not too hard to figure that one out. Okay? So you can use this to adjust and to flex and adapt. Great question. So the young lady was saying that if you go into an interview and there's usually a panel, what do? There may be many different styles. Then you kind of have to be as close to ground zero as possible.
Who's the decision maker?
Who's the decision maker is one thing to find. Clearly, when I was there at that company, there were 3 people. There were 2 thinkers and 1 socializer. And I was answering to the socializer and boo-boo because she was not the decision maker. So if you know which one is the decision maker, you skew yourself a little bit more to that person. Or you could just ask. If you've got the 5 people, you could say, would you prefer me to give answers that are somewhat short and to the point, and then you'll ask me more questions if you want more details? Or would you like me to expound for 30 minutes on each question that you ask? If they all, pretty much, they'll look at the person who's in charge, and that person will probably say, no, we prefer shorter answers. Okay, now you've got a little bit of a clue and you know what to do. Even though there may be some open people there, the key person has given you a clue. But that is tough. It's like here in an audience like this. I got all 4 styles, I'm sure, in the room. But I'm just doing, by the way, when I'm teaching, I think I mentioned this earlier, I'm up here, right? Can you imagine, if I was a director, this is what it would sound like. All right, take out a pen. My name is Brad Warren. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about communication skills. Do not ask any questions. I don't have time for your stupid questions. I will tell you what you need to know. I will tell you what you need to write down. Please just get out a, well, they wouldn't even say please. That would be a director. Half of you would be gone. So I'm much more of a socializer when I'm training. I got one little story to wrap it up, but before I do that, a quick little shameless self-promotion for 1 minute. 2 things that I did bring today that I have on sale. Blueprint for Success. I wrote the chapter on time management, and there are actually some suggestions in there for how to be more structured, how to overcome procrastination, things like that. So I have a book. There's a chapter by Ken Blanchard and Stephen Covey, and then there's my little, put them right there in the middle, my little face right in the middle. And then I have a cassette, a CD. It's called The 5-Step Planning Process for Goal Accomplishment. How to design and create powerful goals and then accomplish them. And it's all about a process that you do for about 30 to 45 minutes on Sunday to plan a week in advance so that you're more structured and you actually accomplish your goals. Normally, this is $39.95. Normally, this is $19.95. Today, half off, 20, 10, and a set of Ginsu nuts. No, you don't get the Ginsu nuts. Here's what I'll do. I have 24 CDs. If you buy a CD for 20, I'll throw the book in for free. So you get them both for 20. Okay? If you just want the book, then it's 10. Okay, back to the story. So Tony always ends up his lectures with this little story. This will nail it for you. This will drive it home. So he tells the story about 4 knights at the Round Table, back in the days of King Arthur. And these 4 knights were accused of a very heinous crime, very serious crime. They were found guilty over their protestations of innocence. They were found guilty, and they were sentenced to death by the guillotine. King Arthur had a special guillotine built. 4 slots, 1 giant blade. And on the day of the execution, they were led up to the platform. The executioner bent them down, put the 4 heads in the 4 slots. King Arthur gives the sign. Executioner takes his axe, goes over to the rope, whoosh, hits the rope. Jams! The blade jams 6 inches above their neck. King Arthur sees this as a sign from above that they must be innocent, so he pardons them all. And each one of them gets up, and guess what? There's 4 knights. There's 1 of each, right? I can't let that go, right? There's a director, a socializer, a relator, and a thinker. Who's the first one to jump up?
Director.
The director jumps up and says, "Sticky! I told you! We were innocent, you didn't listen, and Arthur, I'm suing!" Relator gets up, walks over to the executioner, takes him by the hand, and says, "Look, I know you were just doing your job. No hard feelings. I've let it go. Would you and your wife care to join me and my wife for dinner tonight?"
Can you afford it?
Socializer jumps up. Socializer jumps up, says 1 word. Party!
Oh my God.
Last one to get up, slowly, is the thinker. Looks up at the mechanism and says, "Hey, I think I see the problem." Thank you very much for your attention.